Alrighty, and that is us live with a very special Writing Sprint Wednesdays here at Dabble, joined by my extra special co-host, David. You all know him. You've seen him around here before. It is a pleasure to have him on the show. David, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. My mind's still working.
They're ready to write. It still blows my mind that you write so much on your phone or have written so much on your phone. I guess I do it when I can, right? And I always preach the right in between the cracks of life, manufacture those inspired moments right when you can. But like my home is at the computer when it comes to writing. So I'm envious of you. All
I
right.
spend most of my time at work just on my phone.
Just writing great stories.
So yeah, it's easier. I find it easier because I'm slower on the actual computer.
Yeah, fair, right? All right, so I'm gonna say hello to everyone, but I want everyone in the chat here to give this video a thumbs up, a like, just for David showing up. Because honestly, it takes a lot of courage to get on screen like this in front of people. You don't have to show your writing, right? I'll be the one doing that. But I know being live on stream it's a different kind of experience, right? So actually, before I say hello to people, I will share the link to the first sprint in the chat there. They should be below me. You might have to refresh the page because I was telling David I'm a little bit behind today. Best laid plans always go the wrong way. So so it's there. You just might have to hit refresh. But we have NJ in the chat. We have Linda. We have Samantha. We have Reed. We're starting strong with 75% names that aren't the real names here. Ashley, but I'm nailing it. Aaron's here as well. Hello, Iva, and JM Brown, and Renee, and Emily. Emily, great job yesterday. David's in the hot seat now, so you're off the hook, but you did fantastic yesterday. Who else do we have here? TW and Erica and Julia. Hello, everybody. Now, David and I both have a shared love of D&D. And I told him I wanted to chat D&D, kind of, tangentially related to writing. We only have 2 minutes until our first sprint, so this is a conversation that's going to have to go into the next break. But I was just recording a course on Show Don't Tell for Dabble Premium, right? And little sneak peek. That's what's coming for my premium folks. But it got me thinking: when you're being a dungeon master or game master in an RPG like D&D, you have to do a lot of showing, and some people they'll wax poetically, right? They'll go on and describe a scene to their players. But a lot of the times you need to hook your players' interest with like 3 words, right? You hit them with one of the senses, you describe something a little bit abstractly just to immerse them in that. Does that sound familiar to you, David?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. So I if when we're writing today, yourself, me, people in the chat here, you write better generally when you show, but showing doesn't have to be very verbose. So my challenge today when we're doing this sprint together is for everybody to try and work in a sense or something a little abstract. Use a metaphor that's really powerful. Work something in there that is concise, that's half a sentence at most, to really evoke some kind of feeling or imagery that you want. Yeah. Thumbs up for steel thumbs, David. Yes, JM, you might have to refresh the page again. I'll share the link. Little boo-boo on the sprint number 2 there, but there is a new one that will not link from the first one, unfortunately. But I'll share the link when we get to sprint number 2. Let's see how much time we have. We have 30 seconds. Anything you want to say before we get started on our first sprint, David?
Good luck, everyone. No, that's fine.
Excellent. All right. And when we reconvene, let me pop this up here so that we have the timer going on for everyone. When we reconvene, we'll talk about what it is that you're writing, what I've written, what everyone in the chat has written here. But 10 seconds. So I'm going to mute myself. I will mute you too, I think. Happy writing, everyone. Alrighty, that is our first sprint of the day done. Let me mute my music so I can make sure I hear you all right. Let's pull that off. David, how did that go for you?
Yeah, actually, not too bad. 216.
Very nice. Awesome. Thumbs are feeling good?
Yeah, it's fingers because I'm on the actual laptop now.
Okay. Excellent. I'm going to drop the link for the second sprint in the chat there. It should be updated down below me, but it is not correctly linked at the top of that first sprint that we just did. So don't click that link. But make sure everybody copy and paste your words over so you don't lose them. I always forget to say that. And that's always, I hope no one's lost words, because I've been in the situation where I shut down my computer after a sprint. I walked away, and then an hour later, I'm like, shoot. Came running back to the same computer, booted it back up. Thankfully, saved for 24 hours, but is what it is. How did the chat do here? Ashley got 679. JM Brown got 655. Kara deleted 131 words from the story, but you added 55. That's how the revision process goes. I love it. What did you write this time around, David? What are you seeing
I'm
you're
just
writing?
doing one of the little scene practices. So I'm
Okay.
just writing one of the ones that was up in Storycraft.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, you're in a coffee shop, and your friend tells you he sees a UFO last night. And so far, it's mainly conversation.
Excellent. Now, if a friend told you in a coffee shop that they saw a UFO last night, what would you say to him?
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing at the moment. So like, hang on a minute, what were you drinking last night? Where can I get hold of it? Yeah.
All right, checking back in on the chat here. Emily got 443. Samantha got 262. Taking your time, but it's a good one. That's what I like to see. Linda got 254. Renee edited for 10 minutes before external distraction walked into the room. Hate when that happens. I also, every now and then, if anyone, no one should be looking at the screen while we're writing, because you should be writing. But if anyone did, they might have seen me lift up my headphone for a second, because I don't know if it's because I'm writing a scary story or what, but I swear I heard footsteps above me. So that uncomfortable. Between Abby smelling grilled cheese yesterday during the sprint and me hearing footsteps, I don't know. Maybe this week's haunted a little bit. I saw here Athena joined in and will join us for the second sprint, and Susan's just joining in now, which is excellent. Erica got 24 words and lots of thinking and planning. I love that. Julia got 60, but handwriting. All right, make sure you do some stretches if you're not used to writing a lot by hand, because mine cramps up a lot. Would be stalking the Doug. Well, that was you that started that, wasn't it?
I hold my hands up to that one, yeah, definitely.
No, that's quite all right. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Let me do that. Let me make sure we have everything here. What's everybody in the chat writing? For myself, I already bugged you, David. For myself, I'm just like a scene away from the climax of my story right now, and I'm still like, I like to plan things out, but I'm still teetering back and forth on whether my protagonist is ultimately going to have a happy or sad ending in this horror novel of mine. And I can see it going both ways, and I'm kind of leaning towards a sad ending for her. Like, it happens, right? Let's see. Reed here is working on a chapter from a new fantasy story. That's fantastic. There is going to come a time too soon in our writing sprints where I'll be done this draft, which will be exciting. So then I'll be working on my next fantasy story as well. And I think for those sprints, I'm going to start doing some outlining, some world building, maybe take it from a different approach. Though I do love just the act of writing, as we all do. So I'll be a little sad when that happens. What else happening here? Athena continuing a book, just started writing chapter 3. Although chapter 2 is 15,000 words, so yeah, you might need to break it up a little bit. And Linda's going ahead of time and writing a scene for Act 2, a very pivotal one. That's awesome. There's nothing wrong with jumping ahead to an important scene you're really excited to write. I hear my timer going. We got 5 seconds. All right, Dave. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Happy writing, everybody. righty, and that is our second sprint of the day done. David, how'd it go for you?
I hit 211, so steady.
Yeah, and that's good. Is that what you find you normally do in a 20-minute sprint?
Yeah, it's usually around sort of like the 2s and 3s, depending on on how much deep I'm in.
That's fair.
On the computer, anyway.
Yeah. All right, let's check in on the chat here. Before, Susan said, I'm drafting the first book of a new adult fantasy series, just past the halfway point, which is awesome. And Julia's trying to brainstorm for the Auto Crit Short Story Challenge, which is very exciting, very cool. Ashley got 612, Athena 446, J.M. Brown got 725, Reed got 448, Renee did 15 minutes of revising there. Erica 159, Emily 389, and Casey 208. Casey, I don't know if I recognize Casey. So welcome. Then thanks for sharing your results there. All right, cool. So at the beginning of this, I issued a challenge to do a short, punchy type of showing. David, have you done anything like that in your writing today?
Well, I'm trying to figure out some different things because, like, I've gone with the obvious because I'm in a coffee shop. So you've got your aroma of coffee with spiced in here. But it's sort of like trying to figure something. So I'm trying to look at maybe working in something about maybe the smell of the plastic tables or the paper cups, or
I like that.
Maybe get a perfume of the barista who comes and serves them.
Excellent. I would say too, if you're looking to really nail something that is both immersive and meaningful, think about what you want your character to be feeling, and thus what you want your reader to be feeling, and tweak it like that. And bonus points if, like, the smell of coffee for me, super comforting. I think we all know I love my coffee. It's like 80% of my personality, 20% is writing, and 0.001% is everything else. So the smell of a cafe for me is comfortable, is familiar. There could even be a sense of security around it, right? But for someone else, it might be bitter, especially like if, I don't know exactly what you're writing. And let me make sure before I ramble here that I get the the link to everybody in the chat. We have 2.5 minutes. But let's say in this cafe setting, it's two people who broke up, who are meeting for the first time since their breakup. Then the smell of coffee, normally comforting, could smell very bitter, right? And so that way, if you're focusing on the bitterness of it, that's reflecting how the character isn't happy to be there, or is anxious to be there, or still has some lingering, malice from the breakup. So I think that's what I love, that kind of thing about writing, where you can use something that doesn't seem like it's connected to really evoke this cool emotion. So yeah, that's my rant. That's my rant for today's writing sprint. There's always one in there, right? There's always got to be a Dougism somewhere.
You are the Doug.
Yeah. Casey joined you yesterday. Well, welcome, Casey. Thanks for joining. That's fantastic. Just so you know, we do these every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 20-minute sprints, usually starting at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So thanks for joining. Let us know what you're writing. Linda got 253 words for sprint number 2. Susan got 251. Kara broke even with the editing, removed 25 but added 25. Excellent. Samantha got 301. Took some time to draw out the tattoo my character is giving the other so I can describe it better. Well, let us know how you described it then, so that would be pretty cool. And also had to struggle for a bit with the word strewn. For some reason, I couldn't convince myself it was a real world word. It happens to me all the time. And NJ just broke the 23,000 word mark for the project. So coming slow, but still moving forward. I love to see that. Okay, well, we got 40 seconds until our last sprint of the day. Let me double check to make sure I don't have anything to shamelessly plug today. No, today is just that. I will say, however, that tomorrow for our Dabble Premium members, we do have our office hours at 2 p.m. Eastern, which, is in 24.5 hours. So, so make sure to mark that on the calendar. Join us there if you're a Dabble Premium member. And Athena, thank you for joining us. I'm glad that you could get some writing in, but you're being called in for a nap. So have fun with that. And I'm going to get my writing up on here. Forgot to copy and paste. I do it in Han, all right. Happy writing, everyone. Talk to you in 20 minutes.
Okay.
Alrighty, and then third and final sprint.
This is a general announcement. This site is closing in 15.
I just muted you there so that so that just in case any information is shared or anything, no one else can hear that. But
yeah, so let's start it up.
All right, that's a pretty good cue for us to start wrapping up here. So how'd that last sprint go for you?
Yeah, no, it went well. It went well.
Good. You happy with today's progress?
Yeah, I've got I got 187. So
excellent. Okay. So you add it all up, that's a good chunk of words.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if you're doing the exercise.
Yeah. But it's 600 words into the thing. So
yeah, that's awesome. Let's just see quickly how everyone did in the chat here. Kara can't come to the sprints maybe tomorrow or office hours, but for a good reason, it looks like. Ashley got 730 for a total of just over 2,000. JM Brown got 550 and Casey got 293. Great job. Ree got 465 for a total of 1449. Emily got 266. Susan got 362. Samantha got 865 total. You're going to stick around to finish your daily goal, but you're glad, and I'm glad for you, which is awesome. And Jay got 226-ish, fighting some loud distractions, and Linda got 400 words. And Iva really enjoyed this sprint. You don't track word counts because you're writing and editing at once, but that's fine. We have some people that don't track word counts as their primary metric of your session, right? The idea is that we are productive here and that we are working towards our goal, no matter what it is or how many words that can be. So Renee got negative 14 words today. Great job. Erica, there was writing, there was striking, there was excitement. One more battle to complete this scene. And Monica got caught up on editing with 33. All right, David, anything that you want to pass on to the guests or before we take off today?
Just enjoy your writing, because if you enjoy yourself, it's going to flow.
And I don't think I can give any better advice than that. So on that note, thank you everybody for joining us today. Hank will be on tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for our next writing sprint with another guest host from the community. And then again, we have premium office hours right after that at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Otherwise, it has been a pleasure as always. Thank you for joining us. David, thank you for joining me. And we'll see everybody later. Bye.
See you guys.